Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you for joining me today. Today is my Waay Out Wednesday series, where I drop a video every Wednesday about a topic that might be way out there for some of you guys, but not way out enough for others. Truth be told, what I'm trying to do here, well, besides the fact that I'm trying to do what my spirit guides want me to do for once, is I'm trying to just be a conversation starter. This isn't going to be this video, and none of these videos is going to be the PhD masterclass. It's not going to answer all your questions for one reason. When we ask questions about spiritual topics, that begets more questions. That is the nature of something that we'll never know all the answers to until we cross over. And even then, we perhaps may not know then, right? So hopefully this is just a conversation starter or a point where you think, I want to learn more about this. I want to go check out some other teachings, other resources, okay? And again, I'm not saying that I am the oracle, that I am the all-knowing, all-seeing, because I am not. By virtue of what is happening right here on the screen in front of you, no matter when you're watching this, the fact that I am a human living a human life with very human constraints, meaning my ability to assimilate the information that I'm getting and put it into words and give it to you. I am channeling this, which means that about 60% of me is coming from my spirit guides. 40% is the leftover human part of Susan, which is just simply trying to translate the information that I'm getting and putting into words. Now, I would say to you, in my opinion, it depends on the level of the person and the level that they can handle the information as to the information they get and how they translate it. So someone that's much more ascended or wide open or whatever than me may be able to give you a deeper, more resonant message. I'm here at my level at this time, at this date, and I'm giving you what I get, right? So always connect with your heart and see if it resonates with you. If it does, welcome aboard this tour through the metaphysical universe, through the eyes and the human construct of Susan Lynn. All right, let's get started. Okay, some of you guys are real familiar with me, and you know that I'm pretty well known for the simple fact that I talk to my spirit guides on the daily, all day. Just yesterday, I will tell you a very quick story. When you have a historic or read old, people say historic, what they really mean is old as dirt house. When you see certain things on the side of the road, it's like treasure. I saw some tongue and groove flooring someone was throwing out, tongue and groove wooden flooring. I basically skidded to a stop. My dog flew it. It's like, she was like, what in the heck is going on? Why are you driving crazy? And I got out and I said, I need this. I need this wood. Well, guess what? My guides said no. Now, you know what? When you're a kid, and in this case, and in many cases, I'm a kid, and your parent just says no. Well, what is the thing that a child does? They ask why. I don't think that's too much to ask. Do you? I really don't. So I said, why? They said, no. Well, honestly, that just irritates me. So I decided that I've been down this road a few times already with my spirit guides. They must have a good reason, because they really, truly don't jump in my business that often. So I thought, okay, I'm going to drive past this amazing tongue and groove flooring that's in very good shape, and I'm going to think about it. Now, where I live, this tongue and groove flooring will be gone in an hour, I promise you, but I thought I'm going to go on about my business. When I finally gave it 10, 15 minutes, they were able to tell me the reason. Now, the reason they couldn't tell me the first time was because they said no, and I met that no with resistance. Emotions are energy. And when you have emotional resistance to something, whether or not you're aware of it or you're not aware of it. That stops the guidance right there in its tracks. They're not going to be able to get through your emotional resistance. And I know a lot of you are saying, I am not resistant. I get it. The resistance many times is inside, hidden, not where you will really know about it. Okay. So in this case, when I got home, they were able, and I was relaxed about the situation. They were able to tell me this particular tongue and groove flooring was not tongue and groove flooring that would match my wood floors, at which a part that I need to have repaired or patched. That's why I need this specific type of flooring. It's actually outside deck tongue and groove flooring. The thickness wouldn't be the same. The width wouldn't be the same. Nothing would have been the same. It would have looked terrible. Okay, so there you have it. I talk to my guides on the daily, and you can see right then and there how you may disagree with your spirit guides. There's a very good example right there. Now, can you make them mad? Now, did that make them mad? No, that didn't make them mad. They could care less whether or not I whether I grab that wood off of the street and throw it in the truck and take it home as my prized possession, only to find out 6 months later when the workman comes in and says, you can't use this. And then I might or might not remember that the spirit guides told me no, right? So no, they're not mad. They don't care. So how can you, or can you even, make your spirit guides mad? Well, lucky you. I've done these things for you, so you don't have to. So you don't have to do these things that I've done. That's why I try to share these things with you, okay? So how did I do it? Well, let me just, and what did it feel like, and what happened, right? These are some questions you may have right now. What happened was, once you are on the spiritual path and you start recognizing in a human way in your everyday life where and when your spirit guides are guiding you, well, you're aware that they want you to make that phone call. They want you to take that job. They want you to get out of this relationship, whatever it is. You're aware of the guidance. Now, the guidance could come as a knowing, which is claircognizant, psychic thinking. You don't have to be psychic to get these knowings. Trust me, they're guiding all of us all the time. They're sending people to talk to us. They're putting thoughts in our mind. They are showing us things. They're putting songs in our mind. They're giving us opportunities, synchronicities, miracles. Those things where you say, you can't make this stuff up. Now, I've said this many times, your guides, your spirit guides would just as well rather you never know they're guiding you. Because when they know you're guiding, when they know that you know that they're guiding you, and you know that, you say things like, why? Why do you want me to do this? Or you go, oh, no. I'm not going to start a YouTube channel, right? I'm not going to apply for that job. Are you crazy? And this is basically how I talk to them on the daily. Are you crazy? Like they're here in the car or in the house with me. And they don't care. They're perfectly fine with that. That doesn't make them mad. Of course, it doesn't make them mad. They love us unconditionally. They love us more than anything. In many cases, more than we love ourselves. So that's not going to make them upset. That's just going to slow them down. And that's why they don't want you to know that they're guiding you. They would much rather just guide you along like you're in a sleepwalking and you don't know why, but you're finally calling that person or sending that email, or perhaps you're signing up for that class, or perhaps you're going to the doctor. You don't know why. You haven't gone to the doctor in like 13 years. But anyway, all of a sudden, you're calling your clinic and making an appointment. Why? Because you were guided to do so. There's no other reason why you would wake up at Thursday at 7:30 and go, I'll call my doctor today, right? That's guidance. They would much rather guide you without you knowing, because they will be successful. If we start asking questions, then it's a dialogue, and then they really can't guide us so easily because they have to convince us, so they have to give us more information. And that's difficult. It's difficult. You just saw with the wood how I asked right then and right there what the problem was, and they couldn't tell me because my resistance just in asking why created enough of an energetic barrier that they could not talk to me. Okay. So hopefully you can understand. Now, the one time that I really did make them mad, I truly did. If anybody's going to do it, you know it's going to be me. You know it's going to be me. What happened was, again, when you have enough knowledge that you can start catching them in the act of guiding you, okay? And let's say that you have sharpened your psychic abilities, and perhaps you have mediumship abilities, or your intuition is just super sharp, and you start catching on, you know what, I think I'm being guided here. That's where maybe you know too much. You can't go back to that ignorance is bliss person. You can't go back. You know too much. So what happened was, it was around a relationship. So this relationship, this person came into my life, and I thought, I've been burned. I don't think so. I don't really want to do this. I don't know. I wasn't feeling particularly head over heels about this situation. That's when they started pushing me. So what happened is, a friend calls me up and says, hey, I happen to know that person has the hots for you. That person wants to go out with you. Well, then I'm like, oh, really? Well, maybe I should. You know what I mean? I hadn't dated in a while. I thought, well, maybe I should. What's the harm, right? And going on a date, right? So I decided to call this person up and say, okay, let's go out on a date, no harm, no foul, right? No problem. Again, wasn't really, it was fine. Things were fine, but I didn't feel that crazy energy. Okay. So that was good on my behalf. I was like, well, this is chill, cool. But then the thing that started happening was that I started getting pressure now pressure, I'll describe the pressure, but pressure, pressure. Okay. Let's change the word. They're like, no, that's the wrong word. Strike, Your Honor, strike that from I don't know who this judge or attorney is I have as a guide, because they're always telling me Exhibit A, and now they're saying, please strike that from the witnesses. I don't even know what it is. Whatever. Strike pressure. Okay, forget it. They want to say I was encouraged, and I was encouraged by everyone of my family that was across the veil. I will never forget standing in my kitchen, and this person is coming to my house. And as I was standing there, and it was an open concept with like a counter. So there was the living room, right? So as I was standing there and this person comes in, my family started like going, whoopee, yay. Like everybody was partying and excited. And this is not typical. My heritage is, German, Swiss, Scots, Irish, English. I mean, they're like not partiers. They're like kind of boring. Let's put it that way. So they're on the other side going, whoopee, yay. They were so excited for Susan. I'm like, what is going on? Like this is such a bizarre thing. Like, why aren't they excited when I get a new car? Like, why aren't they excited when I lose 2 pounds? You know what I mean? So I thought, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. Then the next day, so that encouraged me. They encouraged me towards this relationship. The next thing that happened is that I got woken up at 3 a.m. by a friend's deceased husband. Charlie, I got really mad at Charlie. Anyway, Charlie wakes me up and he's like, you know what? This is a great person. You couldn't do better. You couldn't do better. And I'm like, wow. Okay, okay, right? Like, all right, I'll take this seriously. I'll do this thing. Because what happens is you start to think that your human choices are wrong. So you really need to follow the guidance, right? Now, this is going to trip y'all out. 1-800-Spirit Guides. Press 1 for complaints. You're going to understand why I was mad in just a minute. So I said, let's do this. Let's do this thing. Let's do this relationship. I did the relationship. Oh, about a year later, I'm like, holy mother of God, there were red flags everywhere. What happened to me? What happened to me? Why? How did I not see these red flags? I mean, the relationship was so bad that my friends started calling each other and talking about me behind my back. When your friend is in a bad relationship and they're like kind of worried about Susan. Yeah, me too. Do you think she's lost her mind? I don't know, but this is a crazy situation. I don't like this person. I don't either. They're having all these conversations behind my back. Now I'm psychic. I knew that. I knew they were doing that. I could see it. I could see their energy. Well, guess what? That made me mad. And you might not know this about me, but I am Irish. I have a really quick temper that is really big. It has something to do with Scorpio somewhere or Mars. I don't know. But anyway, I have a really bad temper. It's something I've worked on. But anyway, I went berserk against my guides. I said, how could you? How could you lure me into this relationship? I wasn't going to do it. I did it on your, pointing everything. I did it on your suggestion. My family members. I'm like screaming at my grandmother and my dad. I'm screaming at everybody. My brother. I'm like, I'm yelling at all of them. How could you tell me to do this? You knew this was wrong. I was so mad, y'all. I was so mad. And I was so mad that I felt their response. Now, what did that feel like? It felt like an energy wave came and hit me, literally pushed me back. It was like an energy bubble. I could feel it because I kind of went into it. It wasn't hard. It was like I went into it. It was like a little bit of a soft, and then boom, I went back. And I thought, oh, CRAP, I have gone too far now. What do you do when you pee off your spirit guides? I mean, do you send flowers? Do you send chocolates? I mean, that's what I would like. But anyway, do you apologize? I mean, is this a good time for me to get right with God? I mean, should I get on my knees and start praying? I'm not kidding y'all. Like for real, they got my attention. I was like, oh, snap. This is not good, right? This is not a good thing. So what I decided to do was to be chicken shit. And I just slunk away. Like when you make somebody mad and you feel like, well, I'm just going to go in the other room and pretend like nothing happened and maybe they'll get over it and then they'll forgive me and everything will be okay. That's what I did. I went in the other room spiritually and said, I'm just going to give you a break because you're real mad right now. And I don't know what to say. So I'm going to give you a little break. Okay. So that's what I did. Now, here's the thing, guys. I will never forget it. I'll tell you that. It changed me. I will be honest with you. It changed me. It made me realize that this is a sacred bond that I have. And it also made me realize that this was a lesson, that this relationship was every bit one of the most important relationships that I've had in my life, not because it was a train wreck, but because that person kicked me in my butt to do the things that I needed to do, to be on my soul path. I had no choice but to do I had no choice but to stand up for myself. Okay. And that standing up for myself somehow put me on the track of my spirituality that I needed to be on. And that relationship will always be the seminal reason that I am looking at you today on this screen. So it was a lesson. It was a lesson I needed to learn. It was the person that was the best person to kick me in my patootie to get me to do what I needed to do. So could you consider what they did tough love, right? I mean, come on, as a parent, if we want to stay with this analogy, and in many ways, this feels pretty true to me, at least in my place, maybe not for you, but for me, they're my spirit guides. It's almost, there's a parental feeling about that. And sometimes parents have to kick you out of the house or have to say, look, you're not going to do this anymore. I'm going to withdraw my funds, my money, whatever. Tough love. They had to set me up with this relationship because they knew it was the one that was going to graduate me into the next thing. It wasn't going to kill me. It wasn't physically abusive. It wasn't like that. It was just a big pain in my butt, right? It was uncomfortable. It was irritating. It made me grow. So now, of course, they weren't really mad at me. They simply, what happened was they sent my energy back to me. All they did was allow me to experience my own anger, my own energy. And this dovetails right with what happens when you cross over and you have your life review. There's no judgment. There's no devil with the horns and all of that. I mean, there's other things. I'm not going to lie. There's other things that are bad and evil and ugly and all that stuff. But when it comes to our own path, our own spiritual path, and our own path to the light after we cross over, it's us that judge ourselves. We get to feel how we made that person feel. And that's what happened to me. I got to feel my own anger back at me. And it was like cold water on my face. It woke me up. Now, let me also say this, because the spirit guides want to clarify something. There is a situation where we humans often are angry at God or the universe or your spirit guides and angels or whoever it is for you. And that is grief when we lose someone. Oftentimes, humans are so angry at the seemingly wrong reason, stupid reason that someone crosses over. I'll give you my example. My mom died when I was 7. Is that right? Is that right? That's not right. That's not cool, right? So, if I railed at God or my spirit guides in grief, that doesn't come back to me as grief. They absorb grief. They'll take all your grief. That's very emotional. That almost makes me want to cry. They'll take all of your grief happily. Give it to them. They'll take it. They'll take it from you. They're happy to receive your anger, your grief anger. If you're railing at God because of the injustices of having lost a child or the injustices of a war or anything, does not matter. If you're railing at the divine because of grief, they're happy to be there for you. They're happy to absorb that. They're happy to hear that. They're happy to sit with you and accept that. There's a big difference. They understand. They understand it's not fair. They understand that we humans don't always, we just don't have the capacity to understand this bigger picture of why my mom had to check out when I was 7, right? How does a 7-year-old understand that, right? How does my dad, who lost his wife, understand that? I mean, he never remarried. He was young. He was in his 40s and he never remarried. How does one overcome that kind of grief? Except for to give it up to God, give it up to the divine, give it up to whoever it is that you feel is the higher power. And give it to them with spite and anger. They're fine with that. Now, if you get mad at them because of a lesson, then they're probably going to send that right back to you so that you can understand that this is all in divine timing and it's all in your divine lessons. We're in a lesson here. We're in a school. Earth is a school. I know some of you have trouble understanding that. If it wasn't for me that I'm able to step aside from my human self, I would be struggling with this too. And I think the people that struggle with it the most are the overthinkers, which is me, the people that want things to make sense, the people that A plus B equals C. Because in this case, it doesn't equal C. It's like algebra. Why are y'all introducing a letter? Hello, I'm talking numbers, and then y'all go and put a letter in there. I never understood that. I'm going to be honest with you. I never got that. There's a letter here. I'm being serious for real. I graduated math high school with the football team. I was the only chick in the class. Not kidding. So anyway, if it wasn't for me being able to step aside and look at it from this observer view, it wouldn't make sense to me either. So you can step back from this and look at it from an observer kind of viewpoint. It might help you see that better. And also, the most important thing here is to be gentle with yourself. And to be gentle with your spirit guides, because when you start learning, when you start uncovering the guidance, you're going to think, why did I have to meet that person? Why did I have to be abused? Why did I have to lose my home or whatever? And not all of it is lessons. Some of these things we have free will over. Some of them we don't. So that further complicates and confuses the situation, doesn't it? Because how do I know where I have free will and I can really affect this situation, and where I don't have free will and I can't, and I need to make the best of it by learning the lesson? Well, they're telling me it's the same thing, because in either way, you're affecting the situation, right? If it's a free will situation and you need to learn to stand up to this boss or leave the job. So it could be that you have free will to do that, but it could also be your lesson to do it. Now, the difference is free will situation would be like this. You're in this terrible job. You've got this terrible boss. You have free will to leave the job, but you don't. And no judgment. There's no judgment here. Believe me, I've had so many readings where psychics have been like, oh, for the love of God, it's Susan again. Oh, we keep telling her. Anyway, that was then. This is now. Well, I'm still doing it, but I'm doing it now with my spirit guides. But anyway, I digress. You can stay in that job. If it's free will, you can stay in that job. You can stay in that job for 30 years if you want. That's up to you. That's your decision. If it's not free will, if your soul path is to not stay in that job, is to learn the lesson, to stand up for yourself, you will be booted out of that job, or you will leave that job, or you will be fired, laid off, leave of your own volition, trust me, you're not going to stay in that job. That's the difference. They'll make it so horrible for you. They'll bring somebody new in who's even worse than anybody else you've ever worked with in the 15 years you've been at that job. And you think, this is it. This is it. I cannot deal with this person. Like, I've dealt with all these people. I can't deal with this person. This might be the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. And you say, that's it. Peace out. I'm out. I quit. I'm gone. That's the difference. If that was a free will situation, then you would say to yourself, God, can I deal with this person? I don't think so. I don't know. And then you have the free will choice to stay there for another 10 years or to leave next week. If it's not a free will choice, you're going to be leaving. It might take you a year, might take you a day, but you will be leaving. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you understand how you can genuinely piss off your spirit guides. I wouldn't suggest it. Hopefully you've learned from me when you can do that. And you can also learn that they don't really get mad. They always love us. They're always here to guide us. There is nothing you can do to make them mad. Literally nothing. Even if you murdered someone, which is against universal law, it's not acceptable. It's never a lesson to murder someone. Never. That is against universal law. But let's say you did it. Your spirit guides would be your attorneys representing you in the court of universal law. They would be your publicly appointed attorneys, again, with the legal. So they are always going to love you. But they might give you a little tough love on occasion and send you a little energy blast to let you know that perhaps you're mad at the wrong person, right? You're mad at you're pointing your energy and your anger in the wrong direction. It's not really going to help you. Okay. Thank you so very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in to Waay Out Wednesdays. Thank you for supporting my channel. I really, really appreciate your assistance and your help. And I hope in return that I'm helping you in some small way. Please leave your comments below. I feel like I have the best commenters in the world. Thank you so much. Share your experiences. Ask your questions. I'll be happy to try to answer as many as I can. Take really good care of yourself. We'll talk to you again very soon, probably on another Wednesday. Take good care.